Hi fans, I'm Shane Shatters and welcome once again to Season 2 of Shane Shatters Presents Classic Indies here on the Independent Rewind. If you've been watching Season 2 so far, what we've been doing, and we've been doing like the countdown, the championship chase of Neil the Power Superior gunning for the South Atlantic Heavyweight Championship. So if you tuned in last week, you saw the first of two championship matches that Neil was provided, and Helmut Hessler escaped with some questionable tactics and some help from his manager, Kevin the Truth Casey, to retain the title on the first of Neil's two championship matches in Elk Garden, West Virginia. But the following afternoon in Hagerstown, Maryland, right here, for those who live in Hagerstown, it's where Health at Work sits right now, the old Moose Lodge, right on Downsville Pike. And the atmosphere was tremendous. It was off the charts. The hometown boy getting his opportunity, having wrestled on television that was being broadcast locally. He was getting a shot at the championship held by the nefarious East German Helmut Hessler. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sunday afternoon, April the 12th, 1992. Let's go ahead and click on the early opening moments before they go to the ring. They brought out the cameras and so forth. Now, some of this, as we said, this footage and this championship belt in front of me was borrowed from Neil's mother, Pat. And Pat, you've been such a great help with us trying to preserve this great history and all these great videos. And this is a project that means a lot to me. Your son was my mentor, my trainer, and my friend. And I've told you repeatedly how much he meant to me, and it's been a very big thing for me the last couple weeks to be able to present Neil as we all knew him, as this charismatic, great athlete and wrestling champion. So as we get into our moments here, the ring announcers are. The ring announcer is getting the fans a little bit stirred up, and I'm going to point out here in a few minutes, I have another angle of this match myself, because on the far side, straight through the ring, almost like we're zooming in on it right now. It's like we're teasing. I'm in attendance here. I am somewhere back behind Dick Kirchhoff. I'm probably 2 or 3 rows back with my own camcorder. And in some ways, my video quality of this match is better than this one. This was still the boombox era, folks. The boombox era lives. I think that's me if you see me back in the shadows there, so to speak. I'm wearing the white t-shirt. You see me? I got all this hair. I'm like talking over my shoulder that just passed me. Alice Cooper's Feed My Frankenstein, apparently the theme song of the New Aryan Order here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the South Atlantic champion, the German stormtrooper, Helmut Hessler.
I've always been such a huge fan of this belt. I love this belt. I think it looked great. I mean, like today's belts, I don't think they don't look good. They look like toys, but these were. Look at it, proudly adorning the waist of Helmut Hessler. Kevin the Truth Casey once again accompanying Hessler. I think this was a business deal that these two had worked out well in advance when Hessler came up here to present, to give Neil these championship matches as ordered by South Atlantic Pro Wrestling. Kevin the Truth works in the Charlotte area. I believe he worked for Fox Sports. And Kevin, if you're listening and you're watching, please correct me for future appearances, because you will probably certainly be on these clips way beyond today. The video quality's definitely evened out now. There's the introduction for Hagerstown's own Neil the Power Superior. I remember I talked to both of these guys before this match took place. I was, as I said, I'm in the back row on the far part of the hard camera here. I talked to both of these guys, and Neil definitely knew that this opportunity was one that he may not get again. Here he comes. Had some extra flags from last night in Elk Garden. Again, this championship held by some of the biggest stars and some of the best up-and-comers, and Neil was definitely looking at this as a springboard, hopefully, to bigger and better things. And that's not to discredit South Atlantic Pro Wrestling at all. It was a fine organization, but the idea obviously was to try to move up, and the more you moved up, the more money you made, and this was a good step in that direction. Your referee, once again, is Dave the Wave. Absolutely a partisan crowd here. Today's crowd might say that we're being xenophobic or racist towards foreigners, but that's just not the way that it worked back then. It was good versus bad, and I don't know that anybody's going to have much question about the good versus bad aspects of this match. I think what you're seeing here out of a lot of the jerking around, I think there's a certain amount of frustration on Hessler's part here. I mean, there's a good shot of the belt. It looks almost as good today as it did back then because, you know, Pat has just done such a wonderful job of preserving it from the elements and so forth like that. A little tentative getting into the ring here. I mean, he knows what happened last night, so he's got to have that on his mind. When we return next week, we will be going back to more standard fare. I just felt it was very important to me to get these matches on tape and tell the story, and with a certain chronology as it built up towards this big moment here. Ultimately, South Atlantic, within just a few weeks after Neil's victory here, South Atlantic closed down. Neil's the last champion of South Atlantic Pro Wrestling, but he obviously retained ownership of the championship belt, and it became the NWL championship, and Neil was the NWL champion. And there goes the bell, and this second opportunity of Neil the Power Superior to obtain the South Atlantic Heavyweight Championship is underway, and a good push-off of stalemate by these two powerhouses. Hessler doesn't have the look on his face of a confident champion. Usually the champion has the advantage in every match, and maybe it's weighing on his mind a little bit that he's taken on a super strong up-and-coming challenger in his own backyard, literally in his backyard. Elk Garden was 100 miles from Hagerstown. The fans well knew him up there. But this was Hagerstown. This was 10 minutes from Neil's house. This was a very partisan crowd. But the advantage always remains with the champion in these circumstances. He doesn't have to beat you. You have to beat him. He can walk away from the ring. He can get himself disqualified. In some cases, he's probably utilizing Kevin Casey here, and now we're tied up again. I think Hessler was a very proud man. I think he wanted to dominate Neil here today. Things are a little tense in the tie-ups already. Dave the Wave's got his work cut out for him once again today. This is a Sunday afternoon. This is the final match of the evening. There were several other great matches on this card as well, and they very well may be presented to you in upcoming classic indie episodes. Great card. I think Coco Beware was the headline attraction from the national scene, but in reality, this was the main event. I mean, everybody knew this is what everyone came to see. Hessler going back to work on that neck and back as he did, And throws him out of the ring. Once again, part of the strategy. Oh, and a big kick to the back, and Hessler takes a dive outside the ring. There are probably certain aspects of this match that use the same strategy as the night before. I think that Neil had the better of it. I think Neil was on his way to victory in the Elk Garden match, and I think just opportunity presented itself for Hessler to get Casey involved and stole one from him. So you may see some of the same strategy because a lot of guys tended to stick with their strategies back then. It was a very very structured kind of chess game type business. Hessler back in now. And I say that because, I mean, you're watching this a week apart. I watched the Elk Garden match about 15 minutes ago. So I'm seeing some similarities in the approach and the strategies imparted by both participants. Big shoot off here. Tackle. I think that one seemed to catch Neil a little bit here. Now, back to it. He didn't exactly spring right up to his feet. I mean, situation like that this early in the match. But last night, probably still feeling the effects of it less than 24 hours later. I mean, they were probably in the ring at 10:30 at night in Elk Garden, and now this is, the following afternoon. Maybe the body doesn't recover necessarily that quickly. Oh, and again dumping Neil, and you can just see that he's lacking a little something in his step here. Yeah, that's the way I see it. I don't know if you're seeing it the same way. I don't know if you're seeing it the same way. He seems to lack something in his step here. And the early advantage is definitely on the Stormtrooper. And this guy is a powerhouse. We talk about these vice-like headlocks and drop down that time. Nicely done. Big hip toss by Neil the Power. And he just imparted his will on him there. Now he's just getting angry. And now Hessler gets out of the ring, and Neil's kind of, maybe they shook the cobwebs loose here a little bit. Maybe it kind of rattled him a little bit. He realized, maybe I need to get kind of things moving here a little bit. Moving, he did. Once again, we'd love for you to advertise your upcoming wrestling events with the Independent Rewind. Who better to appeal to if you're doing a live wrestling event than wrestling fans? And people are going to want to pay to see live wrestling again soon. Look at this crowd on hand, waving the flags. Very excited. I'm standing 3 rows back there. You can see me in the white shirt, and I have a lot of hair. I have a lot of hair. I'm like a human bush back there. If I use my other copy, you could hear my commentary as a 20-year-old doing this match with my with my camcorder. Now you get to hear me at 49 years old calling these matches. Neil cranking the arm up. Took him a little second there. A little awkward in the exchange there. Both of them kind of fighting for the same leverage in that situation, but Neil grabbed it. Driving one point of his elbow right into the back of that, into the arm. Not the bicep, but the back part of the arm. Took him over nicely. That doesn't tickle. Working that arm now. I invite you to watch my friends Frosty Rob Wells and Steve Sarks here on the Independent Rewind as they kind of take the measure of a lot of the independent wrestling across the country. Casey's clutching that championship belt very, very closely there at ringside. If you notice, it's like he's trying to. Oh, so he's spraying some kind of. I guess he's polishing it. Maybe. It wasn't very customary for a manager to hold a championship belt like this. Usually it stayed at ringside with the promoter or the ring announcer, so that way in the event that the championship changed, it was an easy exchange. Shoulder first into the corner. And the power with a great looking arm drag on the German. I haven't talked this much in the last few months, so I'm losing, my throat gets a little bit dry. But when my throat gets dry, I reach for great value drinking water. There's a commercial endorsement for you. Hessler back to the neck in the traps. They got to be, after last night's match and today's match, they have to be so sore. Neil's neck and back must be so sore from the relentless punishment of the man from Munich. Irish whip. Ooh, hit it hard. Hard into the corner. But nobody home with a big elbow. Where are you at, Neil? Well, we get it again. Big belly-to-belly suplex. And a cover. And a 2. Vertical suplex time. He got it up and over. And another cover by Neil. And a 2. Not quite. Hessler's rattled, but he's not ready yet. It's not that time. A very physical contest. Oh, put his head down. Neil took one. Looked like it might have got a point of the boot into the throat. And once drop him across the top rope. A very common tactic. And Neil's trying to get back to his feet, and I got a feeling Kevin the Truth is going to get involved here yet again. I hope they pay Dave the Wave double. He had so much on the line here with this championship match and these two big bruisers. Hey, KC. Fans taking exception to his involvement against their hometown hero. Uh-oh. Oh, man. The handle of that golf club right into the neck. And a pointed elbow into that same area. So now they're going to focus some attack here to cut off the oxygen, cut off the wind. If you've ever hit your throat on anything, you know how difficult it can be to breathe, how much it hurts. Oh, check out, there's some lady running around the ring here, chasing after Kevin the Truth, but she was intercepted by the always nimble, tricky Dick Kirchhoff. He's got a choke in here, and Dave's trying to get around him, but you see the way the German's moving his body, trying to keep Dave at bay. You can't call it if you can't see it. That's referee school number 101. Back on a vertical spot here. Up. Oh! Double thrust to the throat. Neil is sucking for air here. The German is just relentless, just so aggressive. He just doesn't want to. And a 2. Video quality is really good. I mean, for 30-year-old stuff here now, and we've got past all the buzzing and this, they're focusing in. They're keeping their eyes on the ring. They're not allowing the outside distractions, and there's plenty going on around ringside here. Power slam, well done. Dance with what brought you. That's the approach here of Hessler. He's not very happy with Dave the Wave's count. Aryan Strongman trying, double sledge to the head. That had to knock him for a loop. Casey's prevented plenty of distraction for Dave the Wave. And a big slam. The German's going to go up on the ropes again. He tried this last night. The results were not good. Oh, that time he looked like he hooked his foot and tripped. He probably should have never ever went to the second or top rope ever again. And this creates an opportunity for Neil the Power. Can he take advantage of it at this late juncture in the match? Hard shot to the breadbasket and an Irish whip and a big backdrop by Neil. And another backdrop. 1, 2. If you've ever been backdropped by a man who's 6'4" and you're landing on some of those old hard rings, you know exactly how Helmut Hessler feels. If you don't, it doesn't tickle. I've been there. And a clothesline by Neil. 1, 2. Kick out. Is he expending all of his energy here? Is he shooting this whole wad, as it were? Is this where we are? Again shooting him off. Put his head down, took one to the throat. See, sometimes you go with a little bit and then you lay on a guy a little bit. You put a headlock or apply a hold. If you throw everything out there all at once, it can be a problem. A big scoop slam. Spin and oh! So Dave the Wave kicked in the head. He got roughed up last night. But now this time the German and Kevin Casey are going to try to do what they did last night and try to go back with the championship belt. And Kevin's telling him, let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. And Neil is groggy and he's hurting. But off. Oh! Oh! Right across the throat of the German. And Dave's back up. 1, 2, 3. And we have a new South Atlantic heavyweight champion, and he's Hagerstown's own Neil the Power Superior. And there he is being awarded this beautiful championship belt, his hard-fought victory, the bad tactics. Oh, and Kevin the Truth gets dumped over the top just as for good measure. Neil's beating him with the belt. The sportsmanlike conduct going out the window. It's been a rough weekend between these competitors and the other participants involved. But ladies and gentlemen, let's just go ahead and cut it there. Neil the Power Superior comes out at the end of the rainbow and he wins the South Atlantic Heavyweight Championship belt, which ultimately would become the NWL Heavyweight Championship belt. And ladies and gentlemen, I am so proud to have been able to bring you this belt so you can take a look at it, tell you a little bit of the backstory about my mentor, create some of the importance around this championship, and display these great matches. Thank you, Pat Kirchhoff. In particular, I'd like to thank you for allowing me and trusting me with this valuable part of your memories of your son, who obviously has been gone since 1996, allowing me to borrow this belt, allowing me to borrow these videotapes to create and bring us this classic Indies collection. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shane Shadows, and we will see you next week.